I'm getting surgery today in a few hours on my eye. And it's cataract surgery. I know it's quite common now, but I'm getting it later today. And in a couple of weeks on my other eye. As an artist or a designer, getting surgery on your eyes is scary. It's freaky. So I'm a bit nervous about it, and that's why I'm doing this podcast today. This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the cannabis goldsmith. Even just talking about it, I'm getting tight in the chest, just talking about this. The anxiety is internalized in me. I can block it out with my brain, mostly, but I'm feeling it in my body, so I know I'm anxious about this. But the thing is that there's not really much I can do about it. I'm at the mercy of fate and the skills of the surgeon. And my body, and whether my body will heal from it or not. So there's all these factors that are in play here. Basically, I have to surrender to someone else, and it's entirely up to them. And here, in my case, it's even more up to them because, like, I have my neighbor's taking me for this operation, and he's bringing me back. So he's helping me out too. I guess that's the part I don't like, is having my life in someone else's hands. I don't like that. I like having my life in my own hands. I mean, I've abused that privilege through a lot of times in my life. I haven't treated myself as well as I should have. I mean, that sounds weird. That sounds selfish. But no, from a physical point of view is what I'm talking about. I mean, I exposed my eyes to extreme amounts of sunlight. I had no sunglasses and stuff as a kid, but none of us did in that era. I don't even think no kids wore sunglasses when I was growing up. That just didn't happen. But all this cumulative ultraviolet stuff happening is bad for your eyes. And as a youngster, I drank way too much in university. I abused alcohol. That's abusing stuff. That's abusing your physical body, right? So when you're younger, you tend to do this. You don't think about death. You don't think about, or if you do, it's kind of, it's as if it could be happening to someone else. You think, oh, well, people die, yeah, but you just put it aside because you're young and your future's ahead of you. You don't think about it. And you take all kinds of risks, too, that you're mostly not aware of or even don't consider risks that become apparent later in life as genetics sort of, I guess, turn on and off switches in your body, and all the cumulative effects of living impact you differently. So anyway, with me getting my eyes done, my eyes were getting worse and worse and worse. And as somebody who works visually, I mean, of taking photography, doing photography, taking shots in the studio, for the last few years, I've been checking the color numerically in software to make sure my eyes are seeing the right color and conveying the right color to what I want the images to look like online. I'm making sure everything is sort of okay. Now, hopefully the new lenses will make it better for me color-wise, but I'm still going to be checking to make sure my color adjustment, color corrections are fine when I photograph my gold rings or silver rings or products or whatever and put them online. It's essential for me to get this surgery, so that's why I'm getting it done. My edge detail. What happens with cataracts is there's like a cloudiness that develops in the lens in front of your eye. And not only does it reduce sharpness on like focal sharpness, like things aren't as sharp, but it eliminates a lot of light coming into your eye. And if you're a photographer, you know that light is everything. So if there's less light coming in, you start getting effects like you can't see edges of things very well, and so this is what's happening to me, right? You can correct it to a degree with glasses, but after a while, the glasses don't do anything, and the cataracts are basically like a smeared screen of Vaseline in front of your eyes, and your brain is trying to bring things into focus, and I guess my brain is actually emulating focus. Like, if I look at a banana, it seems in focus, but it's not really. But my brain has seen so many bananas that it sort of makes it in focus. It creates the focus. So, I'd rather have the eyes working properly, and so I can produce better stuff, produce better work at the bench, or produce better designs. As a photographer, eyes are key, right? Vision is so important. And as a jeweler or artist or painter, anybody who does visual art, getting eye surgery is serious, and it's scary. So that's why I'm talking about it now. Like in a few hours it's going to happen. I'm at the full mercy of the surgeons and stuff. I've followed all the directions. You have no idea how many eye drops you have to put in before a surgery like this. I mean, there's 3 kinds of eye drops, and they all have different schedules, and so many times a day, and one you have to put in 2 times a day, another 4, and like it's just really complicated. There's this big chart that I have on the wall where you check off each drop as you put them in, kind of thing, so you don't get lost in the chaos of the eye dropping. But I followed all the directions to a T. I'm going to listen to my surgeon. I'm going to have a good breakfast and hope for the best. And after the surgery, either later tonight or tomorrow morning before I publish, I'll just probably come back and tell you what it feels like or what it felt like. I've sort of tried to get everything together before I do this, so that in case I can't do it for a while after, like stuff like chopping firewood for the wood stove and getting all that stuff ready in case, I don't want to stress myself out too much after these surgeries. As I said, there's 2. There's one today and one in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to, take care of myself. I'm an old guy after all, and I still want to produce some good work. I want to produce the absolute best quality jewelry made from cannabis plants here in Canada, which is what I do. And we had a pretty weird growing season this year. I had 4 plants grown, 4 different kinds, and one didn't work so early on, so we had to take that out. So that left 3. And they grew quite large this year. There was a 16-foot tall KwaZulu-Natal plant and a green crack plant that I guess probably hit 12 feet tall, maybe. And a Congo plant that was very strange, like sprawled, like a sprawler. I don't know if you're into gardening, and there's some plants sprawl, like they like that. They like growing wide instead of tall. And this Congo seems to be like that. And it's like a freak of cannabis plant. There are some leaves are big, some leaves are really tiny, some leaves are thick, and some are thin. It's just all over the place. But it's allowed me to collect a variety of leaves to capture and model for our jewelry next year. So I've been working this Congo plant. It's still in the ground now. Most of the flowers all been picked off it, and it's drying. But there are leaves still on it, and I'm utilizing the leaves as quick as I can before the frost hits, because the frost will just change them and make them not so good for jewelry pieces. But I'm also looking at the roots of these plants. I'm gonna be taking them out of the ground, digging them out, and looking at the roots of these plants before the ground freezes over here in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario. And what I'm looking for in the roots is nice, interesting roots that I can cast in sterling silver or gold, 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold, to make bracelets, to make these kind of torque bracelets out of roots that you just wrap around your wrist. You bend and wrap around your wrist. They're amazing. They're comfortable and they look cool. And they're cannabis roots turned into solid gold or solid sterling silver. What I did in the spring when we planted the one big plant that grew to 16 feet, I put blocks, like shaped objects, pieces of, children's blocks and toys and shapes in the root area of the plant in the soil. And I hope that the plant grew roots around these objects to give them interesting shapes and stuff. And it probably didn't happen, but I did it in previous years, and sometimes the roots, they run across a shape like this and they turn, right? They don't want to go, they can't go through it, so they go around it. And it creates interesting root shapes that later make amazing pieces of jewelry, like just crazy good. And the roots themselves have a texture when they dry. So what I'll do is I'll dig out the roots and then dry them for a number of months. And they kind of, like if you get an apple and peel an apple and dry it, it gets wizened. It kind of like, it shrinks into itself and it opens up pores in the apple and stuff. And this is what happens to the roots. The water evaporates and they scrunch down a little bit and they get a really nice surface texture, which we capture in the casting of our product. So it's all captured. And when this is polished, it leaves a nice reflective surface. In gold in particular, you can see that it reflects out like crazy. It's just really a nice looking texture. And it's root. You can tell it's root. But it's also gold, so it has an amazing look. In silver, these products, because silver tarnishes over time, the darker area, it develops darker areas in the creases in the root, like the wizened areas, the lower areas, not the high areas. The high areas get buffed as you wear it. Your clothing cleans it, but underneath, in the tiny little in the little valleys in the pattern of the root, that gets dark, that oxidizes, the silver oxidizes. So you get this nice multi-dimensional look, even in a silver torque bracelet like this made from a cannabis root. So anyway, I'm hoping the roots work. I'm going to pull them out in, I guess, in a week or so if I can. It's going to take some effort, so I don't want to stress out the eyes too much or whatever the surgeon says I'll do. I mean, I don't know anything, so he'll tell me what to do. He seems like a good guy. Anyway, I feel a lot better even just talking to this microphone this morning. It's taken away a lot of stress from this upcoming eye operation, the two upcoming eye operations. After the eye operations, turns out now I wear glasses for distance. So if I'm driving a car, for example, I wear eyeglasses so I can see far, right? And I've worn eyeglasses all my life. Well, actually, I think when I turned 13, I guess puberty changes your everything in a person. And my eyes started to change when I hit 13, and I became nearsighted. So I started wearing glasses from the age of 13 on. So now after the surgery, I won't need glasses apparently to see distance, but I will need glasses to see close. And as a jeweler now, I'm already using glasses to see close. I wear sometimes reading glasses. Even now, I don't need reading glasses to read now, but I will after the surgery apparently. But when I'm doing jewelry making, I'm at the bench and I sometimes wear reading glasses so I can see sharper and closer where I'm working. And I wear on top of that sometimes magnification, like a magnifier so that I can see even closer than that. So what I'll be doing after the surgery is pretty much what I'm doing now. Maybe the lenses, the magnifications will change or something. But anyway, they've said it's just going to be a reverse of what I'm kind of used to. And I won't need glasses to drive, but I will need them to do reading or working close up. No, that's okay. That's fine. I'll deal. But anyway, I'm gonna stop now, and I'm gonna have, I think, smoke half a joint to chill out, and then I'll come back to you after this operation is over, and I'll tell you what happened, describe it, and if you're an artist out there and this is going to happen to you, this might help you deal with your upcoming cataract surgery or eye surgery. It's the next day now. Well, I got to tell you, that was freaky. That surgery was really freaky. Anyway, I went to the local hospital for the surgery. It's not the Toronto hospital that I'm used to. In Toronto, St. Mike's, the hospital I used to go to, is a downtown trauma hospital. There'd be like helicopters landing every 10 minutes, people, gurneys coming in and out, like policemen like running around, and none of that stuff. This was like very quiet, a small rural hospital, very clean, very friendly people. I guess that's what I needed yesterday. And I went and had the right eye done. It was very strange. It was very strange. The operating theater looked like something on a spaceship. It like a round room basically with all kinds of stuff hanging off the ceiling and just like you would imagine an operating room looks like, but for eyes. Not like the Blade Runner guy. They don't operate in the freezers like in the original Blade Runner movie. You a Blade Runner? I just do eyes. That guy. Well, anyway, there was none of that. No freezing. Although it was really, really cold, and they did give me a nice warm blanket that you get at hospitals sometimes, which is like the best thing ever. They drape you with this with a blanket that's been heated in one of these heating cabinets. It's like, oh my God. What the actual surgery is like is like you look up at two little dots, which I guess are two tiny fiber optic lights. And, they tape your eye open, and the surgeon goes to work and removes the cataract and then puts a new lens in the eye. Now, all this takes it seemed to take about 15, 20 minutes, but the lead up to it was like an hour and a half just waiting to get into that operating room. And the hour and a half beforehand, that's kind of the part where you start wondering it's kind of unnerving. It's the frightening bit, right? Just the waiting for it to happen. When it's happening, you're in the hands of the surgeon, and I suppose then you deal with his skill, which I did yesterday. Anyway, you look at these two little lights. They look like little squares, and there was all kinds of weird color shit going on. Like it was like, I did acid in university, and it was pretty much the colors and the visuals were like that coming out of my right eye as he was doing whatever he was doing. Here's the other thing. I didn't Google the operation before I went in. I don't want to. I know my own brain is that if I had Googled what he was going to do to me to know the steps, I could have easily gone into the internet, into medical surgical sites to find out what the hell he was going to do. I didn't want to know any of that because I knew the moment that I was in that operating room, I would be comparing what I had learned online to what I thought he was doing with my eye. So I didn't want to be thinking any of that shit. So I went in there with a clean slate. He's the surgeon. I'm not going to question any of it. So he did some stuff. Obviously you can't see because he's operating on your eye while he's doing it, but you just see these colors, it's like the best way to describe it, if you haven't done psychedelics, is like you get a sheet of white paper and start dropping colored inks onto it, and then they all blob and blend together kind of in this like tie-dye thing. This is like crazy. I was thinking, wow, look, I've never seen colors like that before in a long time, at least anyway. But yeah, they did that and then instructed me to not to touch my eye and gave me a patch thing to put on while I sleep so I don't poke myself in the eye. And I didn't last night, I don't think. I didn't poke myself in the eye. But this morning I can see blurry out of the eye. My one eye, the other eye that hasn't been operated on, I still have vision, so I can see. But I noticed the new lens is extremely bright. There was something blocking, the cataract in my eye was blocking light from entering my eye, so everything was getting very dim. And it also affected the color of what I was seeing, and I can tell that right now by comparing my two eyes. Even though I'm seeing blurry out of the operated eye now, if I switch my eyes back and forth, I can see that the new lens that is less yellow, there's a less yellow cast compared to my other eye, which has cataracts in it, which produces a yellow cast over everything I see. Now your brain corrects for this. And after a while, your brain knows that what color leaves on trees are supposed to be. So your brain eliminates the yellow cast from everything in the brain software. And so you actually see things the way they're supposed to be. I was really curious this morning how my photos would look with the in color, what kind of color they would have, because I photographed all of them in the studio with cataracts with an orange filters on my eyes, right, basically. But I looked, and the colors is excellent because I checked it all with numerically in the software when I was photographing, and I don't do any kind of crazy color correction or anything like that when I take a picture. It's basically a straight up photo with dust removal, and I don't alter the color at all if I can get away with it. So anyway, the photos I took, I can't really see objects clearly, but I can see light. The color of light is much different with this new eye. And my brain is substituting this color. The way the eyes work is like, even though I can't see clearly with the right eye, it's allowing my left eye to see with extra brightness. It's transposing the brightness from the new eye into the old eye. So I'm starting to see more brightness in the old eye. But this is just the brain. The brain is substituting whatever it can see from the right eye and inserting it into what it sees in the left eye. So I'm seeing color much brighter even in the old eye. But this is all my brain doing the work there for now. But I did notice that my color, my photography is good. So I'm grateful. I'm happy about that. I was kind of worried. But I'm also noticing blues are exceptionally more blue with this new eye than with the old eye. It's like really blue. Like I have these blue LEDs on my computer, and they're, Jesus, I didn't think they were that bright, right? They're just seriously, I'm gonna have to tape them over with something because they're just crazy blue. Like, wow, almost like ultraviolet blue. I'm seeing a lot of color. So I guess the surgeon said the operation was a success, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to see. But right now, this morning, this is early the next morning. It's not even 24 hours after the surgery, but I can see blurrily. So I have an appointment with the surgeon this morning, and he's going to check on his work to see how he did and see what it looks like, and that I'm happy for that because I want to see what he has to say. But it seems that my eyes are slowly getting a little better, clearer. But I don't know yet. I can't really tell. I can't make that decision. Anyway, that's one eye done. I still have another eye left to do. It's quite an operation, but in the end, for an artist, as you get older as an artist and you develop cataracts in your eyes, it impacts everything. Your entire art, everything you do. If you're a visual artist, it's like it gets in the way. Cataracts get in the way. So that's why I'm having them removed. I mean, I know people who are, well, they said to me in surgery yesterday, said, you're pretty young for having this done. But as I said earlier, I was out in the sun in Central Africa, running around in like blazing equatorial sun. So that's the reason why that's happened. But anyway, yeah, if you're an artist, and it's really hard to have anything done to your eyes, because there's a chance that it won't work, right? And you'll be worse off. But there's a better chance that it will work and you'll be better off. So that's the odds are that it's going to be an improvement for you, it's not going to make you worse. So that's why I had it done. I'm going to be interested to see how all these eye surgeries impact my photography and my design work when I work on the products, turning cannabis plants into precious metal jewelry products. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. For an operation like this, it's all eye drops. I mean, God, I have 3 kinds of eye drops. I have to, every 4 hours, you have to put in eye drops. And there's like an antibiotic. There's like I think a steroid eye drop, and then some other kind of eye drop. And you just have to keep putting, I'm getting pretty good at putting in eye drops. I'm like, they're not going on my nose anymore. They're going actually into the eye. So that's a good thing. Today I'm going to go see what the aftermath is about, and I'll mention some of that next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith podcast. Anyway, if you're worried about getting your eyes done and you're an artist, if you have to have cataracts removed, I mean, it's a serious thing. I mean, you'll have people that say to you, "Oh, they do it all the time," right? They do it all the time. It's just like an outpatient thing. It's just like, yeah, they do it all the time, but it's a serious operation. Let me tell you that. Don't let your friends tell you otherwise. It's serious. It's an operation. But it's an operation that will make your art and your life better, I think. And we'll see how it goes for me. I'll be the test rabbit here. You can, as you listen to this podcast, I'll be able to tell you how it's going with the eyes. This one, I've got the other eye in 2 weeks to be done. So I think, hopefully, now that I've been through one, it will be getting the second one done will be less frightening. It is frightening, I got to say. Any kind of surgery is frightening. And for me, I think the frightening part is turning myself over to somebody else, to somebody else, putting myself in someone else's hands. That's a big thing for me. I've always been self-supporting if I could be. I don't like asking anyone for anybody for anything ever. I've never liked doing that. And even asking a surgeon to do surgery is like, I don't even want to do that, right? And then when you're actually getting surgery, you have to give your will and your life over to the surgeon for that whatever length of time this operation is happening. You just trust that it'll all work out, as I've done and as I'm doing now. And we'll see what happens today. I had a podcast lined up for this week on war, on the jewelry of war, and I actually recorded it already. So I'm going to probably bring that to you next week about the jewelry of war, and this is not medals. We're not talking about medals or honors here. We're talking about something else entirely. So tune in next week for the Cannabis Goldsmith, where we'll talk about the jewelry of war. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. You can see what we do at tribe.ca. Send us an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith.